Welcome back to the channel. The latest round of eShop deals features many awesome indie games for the Switch, with lots going for brand new low prices. Quite a few of these games are some of my favorite titles for the system, so I'm pretty happy to talk about these games today. The Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap remake is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful hand-drawn animation and visuals give the classic game a brand new life, as well as a fantastic new soundtrack pleases the ears. The original game is one of my absolutely favorite games for the Sega Master System. It's an early example of a Metroidvania before that ever was a thing. You play as an adventurer who's been turned into a lizard. You gotta defeat and cure this curse, but you'll also get other forms that will both help you with your exploring as well as in combat. I highly recommend this one. It's one of the best remakes out there, and it's a great way to experience this classic. It's down to a brand new low price from the eShop, just $5.99, an amazing deal for this gem. Ys origin is quite a bit different from other games in the series. It's the first game not to feature the series lead of Adol. Instead, it features brand new characters to play and a story set 700 years prior to the start of the main series. Also, even though it is an action RPG, it's more of a hack and slash style game. You'll be mowing through many enemies very quickly in fast combat. I like the change in style though. It's fun as heck, and challenging too, as some of those boss battles will absolutely test your reflexes. It's a very solid pickup for the Switch at just $5.99. Longtime viewers of my channel know my love for Mighty Goose, the Metal Slug inspired game that has you playing as a goose in a robot suit and beating up the bad guys left and right. It features fun, run-and-gun gameplay, lots of variety to the levels, plenty of vehicles to jump into, like the Metal Slug games, and fun boss battles. If you're gonna do a heavily inspired game, you better do it right, and Mighty Goose hits a home run with its gameplay. Definitely do yourself a favor and check it out. It's only $7.99 on the eShop, and it's very much worth getting it at that price. Might and Magic: Class of Heroes was a favorite game of mine back in the day. I discovered it on the 360 through their Xbox Live Arcade service, though I imagine many played it on the DS, which is actually where it first appeared on. I was really hooked by the puzzle/strategy RPG nature of the game. It's a really unique experience, one that I just haven't seen an equivalent of since the game came out years ago. The Definitive Edition brings the game into the modern era with a cleaned up full HD presentation, online multiplayer options for both co-op and PvP, and it also includes the I Am a Boss DLC, which allows you to play as the villains of the game. It's on sale for $12.59, a brand new low price for it on the eShop, and it's one I highly recommend for fans that love strategy games. Alwa's Awakening is a neat 8-bit style game that has you exploring an interconnected world like most Metroidvanias, but this time with a little less emphasis on enemy combat and more on solving puzzles in each room you encounter in order to navigate to the next room. I really like it, and when I played it some years back, I got super addicted and ended up beating it in one day. It took me around 10 hours or so to beat it. It's a well-made game, very enjoyable, and one that's a solid pickup at just $4.49. The sequel, Alwa's Legacy, continues where the first game left off, with similar gameplay, though this time it's presented in a 16-bit style as opposed to an 8-bit style. You still gotta solve puzzles, though this time there's a bit more action to the game, and you definitely gotta make some tricky jumps, as well as take on more enemies in this one compared to the first game. It's a well-made Metroidvania that's worth checking out. It's on sale for a brand new low price of $8.09 until April 8th. Oh, by the way, if you intend on getting both games, do not get the bundle. While it's on sale, it'll cost you more than buying it separate for some strange reason. I have to imagine it's some kind of weird pricing error. Paying Adventures is the modern take on the classic arcade series. You still gotta pop the bubbles as quickly as possible, but this time, there's a bunch of weapons at your disposal, and there's also boss battles. You gotta fend off a alien invasion. There's 3 different modes: a tour mode that acts as a campaign, a score attack mode, and a panic mode that has you going through 99 stages in a row to see if you can survive. It's on sale for a brand new low price in the eShop. It's just $2.99 until April 8th. One of my absolute favorite beat-em-up games on the Switch is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. Developed by Dotemu, it captures the feel of the older TMNT games, as well as the famous animated series from the 80s to 90s, with some nice modern gameplay touches. The combat is fast and fluid, it's easy to pick up and play, just like the games of old, making it a great game for everyone to get into. And the ability for 6-player multiplayer makes it really stand out compared to other beat-em-up games out there. Usually you see 2-player, sometimes 3 or 4, but 6-player multiplayer makes for a crazy experience. Only the old X-Men arcade game comes to mind with a similar experience. The game itself is down to a brand new low price of $16.74 on the eShop. The Dimension Shell Shock DLC adds a bit more content to the game, with a full-fledged survival mode with new content made specifically for that, 2 new playable characters to the roster, and new tracks and color palettes to unlock. It's on sale for $6.79. You can save even more by getting the bundle with the game and the DLC together for $22.25. Record of Lodoss War-Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth is a wonderful Metroidvania that is very much inspired by Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You can see it in the visual style, the movement, and general mechanics. That said, it does provide some nice twists to the gameplay, with a heavy emphasis on Deedlit's bow and arrow, not only for combat use, but also in use for solving the many puzzles in the labyrinth. Gameplay also revolves around the heavy use of magic and the elemental spirit system that allows you to absorb certain elements in combat and through the many puzzles and traps that you come across in your journey. The game is an absolute gem, one that Metroidvania fans should absolutely check out, regardless if they know anything about the Record of Lodoss War franchise or not. It's on sale for a brand new low price of $14.99 until April 7th. DRAINUS is a game that is made by the same developer behind Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. This game is a scrolling shooter, and the main gimmick of this game is the ability to absorb damage and fire it back at enemies, but also retain some energy to be able to use for upgrades for both offense and defense. It's almost like a different take on the Gradius upgrade system, just this time it's far more advanced in options. Just like the previous game, the art style is very slick. It's pretty impressive what they have done with the pixel graphics. Definitely check this one out if you love shoot 'em up games, especially ones with a bit of strategy to the gameplay. It's on sale for $13.99 until April 7th. Figment 2 continues the adventures of Dusty and Piper as they make their way through the once peaceful areas of the mind. There's puzzles to solve in this action-adventure game, just like the first game, and musical-themed boss fights. The musical aspects of the game actually help it to stand out in production value and give it a unique charm. It's on sale for a brand new low price of $8.74 on the eShop. If you're looking to check out the first game, that is super cheap. It's only $1.99 on the eShop. Streets of Rage 4 is a beat-em-up game, our second on today's list, and it's considered to be one of the very best games in the genre on the console. The game is the long-awaited sequel to the Sega series, with 5 different playable characters, a beautiful hand-drawn visual style, which is made by the same studio who made the Dragon's Trap remake, and a pretty kick-ass soundtrack that does the series justice. In addition to local multiplayer, there is online multiplayer too, which sadly is a feature that seems to be missing from a lot of beat-em-up games these days, so it's nice to see that this game has it. Anyway, it's on sale for $12.49 until April 8th. Fight Crab is just one silly game. There's no way around it. It's freaking bonkers. You play as a crustacean and take on others in almost kaiju-like monster battles, while using weapons that you pick up or bring into battle to flip over the other crustacean on its back and have them stay down for a set amount of time to win the match. Now, the control of the crustaceans is also awkward, on purpose mind you, and it can take a little bit to master. But honestly, that's the fun of the game. The awkwardness, the silliness, the absolute bonkers nature of the game. It's crazy enough, it's dumb enough, that I can just recommend it because it's guaranteed to make you laugh. It's on sale for $9.99, and trust me, you can do a whole lot worse with your $10. It's worth checking out on the crazy premise alone. The Falconeer has you taken to the sky in air combat as a warbird. You gotta dive, dodge, and shoot enemies in air combat through a nice sized campaign. It's a pretty game too. It's got a nice presentation, there's voice acting and all, but more importantly, it's very fun to play. The Warrior Edition contains the game with all the updates as well as all the DLC content too. It's down to $7.49. It's first sale in nearly a year and the lowest price it's ever been on the eShop. Infernax is unlike most retro-style action games. Every action, every decision you make has ramifications on how the game turns out, as well as affects the many game's endings. It's also quite violent, as you can tell. It's pretty intense and bloody. Between the many decisions to make, you gotta take the experience that you do earn and save the kingdom, navigate through tough dungeons, and face off against challenging bosses. It's on sale for $13.39, which is a brand new low price for it on the Switch eShop. Fans of run and gun games need to check out Blazing Chrome if by some chance they haven't yet, because holy cow, it's a blast from start to finish. It's a very fast-paced, action-packed game with some intense stages and boss battles. It reminds me a lot of the later Contra games, the 16-bit era, and it absolutely nails that style. It's on sale for $6.79 until the 8th. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider is a 16-bit style action platformer that is inspired by Sega's Shinobi series, Koei Tecmo's Ninja Gaiden series, and even to a degree, Konami's Contra series. You play as a ninja warrior as he takes on super soldiers and his own creators in a non-stop quest for vengeance. At times you gotta do some tricky platforming, take on hordes of enemies, ride a motorcycle, and of course, take on some insane bosses. If you want a game that feels like a thrill ride from start to finish, then get this game, because that's exactly what it is. If you're looking to get it on the Switch, it's on sale for a brand new low price of $11.04 until April 8th. In Young Souls, you play as one of the orphans, Jen and Tristan, in a side-scrolling RPG beat-em-up that has you taking on goblins in a universe parallel to ours. As you play and beat up the goblins, you'll be able to unlock and upgrade your weapons, armor, and accessories to improve and customize your character. Now, beyond the RPG aspects of the gameplay, what really stands out is two things. It's the presentation for one. It's got a neat visual look that stands out compared to other beat-em-ups on Switch. And second, it's a narrative-driven experience. Most beat-em-ups kind of throw you into a thin story, but this one actually has a huge and deep story to discover as you play through it. It's on sale for $11.24, a new low price for it on the eShop. Well, that's it for today's eShop deals. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll catch ya on the next video.